Hello and welcome back to the Born and Bred podcast. This is episode 3 of season 2, and we are your hosts, Brendan Gallagher
and Maria Lynn. This episode is sponsored by the Robinson Grand Performing Arts Center, your go-to destination for entertainment. Visit the Robinson Grand for movies, live music, and an assortment of other events. They have been fantastic and just incredible partners to work with in the journey of Born and Bred. They've been extremely supportive of the Born and Bred concert series, as well as all facets of Born and Bred music. So we are so grateful to them. Check them out at therobinsongrand.com for upcoming events, including a Born and Bred Presents John Ellison show on October 20th, and of course, the Born and Bred concert series on November 16th. Again, that is therobinsongrand.com.
I can feel your lies, they're coming around. The further I get from you, the closer I get to who I am.
So thanks for tuning in. We just had a great weekend in Clarksburg, West Virginia at that very venue you just listed as our sponsor, the Robinson Grand. We were at the Mountain Craft Film Festival put on by our friends at Mountain Craft. What did you think about it?
Oh my gosh. That was maybe one of my, definitely top 5 weekends since I have moved here to West Virginia. It was so fun. I love that it was multiple days. And I love that. I've talked to another friend about this I love that sort of conference experience of you're meeting new people, but then they sort of become your besties just for the weekend while you're there, and that whole vibe and the networking and stuff. So I love that it was Thursday to Sunday. I had other things going on the weekend that I had to do, but it was nice being okay, I'm going to pop over now and check out this movie that they're playing this evening, grab a friend to come with me. It was just a really, really good time. And the networking brunch was honestly outstanding. I thought the food display, I actually don't even know who did it, but it was so good. It was
I think it was Grace and Goat.
Oh, was it Grace and Goat? Anyway, that was great. They had a nice cocktail bar set up up in the ballroom there at the Robinson Grand, and then Stone Tower was set up as well. So the brunch itself, I thought was just such a. I was I wish we could do this, once a month or something.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good time. Great people. Some people came that we don't necessarily get to see a whole lot from other parts of the state, or even somewhat locally that we just don't necessarily get to see a lot. So it was just cool, all of these creatives in the same room, basically saying together, yeah, we're on the same team, and how can we help each other?
Yeah, so that's the other really cool thing about it. But actually, before I get into that, I want to say this. Mountain Craft, thank you for partnering with Stone Tower and having them there all weekend.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Being able to go get a cup of coffee at any point in time.
It was great, yeah.
That was fantastic.
And I would say that is probably the weakness of most events, is that there's not really necessarily good coffee readily available. And there was good coffee readily available all the time, and that was so nice.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel that team at Stone Tower too is becoming they're a little extension of the Born and Bred family now, because they are sponsoring. Stone Tower is sponsoring the Stomping Ground series, so we got to hang out a little bit with Tyler from Stone Tower, and as well as some of the baristas who we see often enough at the Stone Tower in Bridgeport. But it was kind of nice having seeing them on a daily basis for the whole weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. So. Going back to that networking brunch, which we were a sponsor of, it was amazing getting to sit around these tables and see and really wrap your head around who all is in this room right now and what all they've done, and to realize, hey, you've got people here who are all on the same page and saying the same things, which is, we are not in competition with each other. We are all here to help one another. And that I've seen that shift in the musical landscape as well over the last few years. I'm seeing more artists than ever share other artists' events or music, whatever it is. And it's really there's a major shift in the culture, the arts culture of West Virginia, where people are genuinely trying to elevate everybody across the board. And that to me is life-giving. Yeah. It's inspiring.
And it makes sense more than anything else. Competition in the music industry honestly makes no sense, because the reality is every single artist is bringing themselves to the table, which means everybody is bringing something unique, right? And at the same time, like when I see artists, not necessarily West Virginia artists, but just artists at large, get sort of like jealous if you're a fan of another band or artist or whatever, it makes no sense, because it's like, what human on the face of the planet do you know that only listens to one band or one artist and that's it? Nobody does. And if they do, they're probably musically stunted and there's something a little bit off in their soul.
I agree. I don't know how many vinyl I own. It's a lot.
We all listen to
But
a
I listen
variety
to
of music.
everything because I love everything. And as a musician, I am not intimidated when other musicians make good music. I'm excited for them. I want them to put out their best product. I think the worst thing is when I hear somebody I know that is talented put out something that's not good.
And if anything, like if there's an artist that I really like and that's local, if anything, my thought isn't so much like competition, but like, ooh, that'd be a fun collaboration.
Right.
Like, I would love to harmonize with that person. Like, that's kind of where my mind tends to go.
I am in no competition with anybody. I'm not. Nope. We're not in a race. There's no prize at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I'm making music because I love music. I'm doing art because I love art. And if that's not why you're doing it, get out, because your heart is in the wrong place. And we need people who are in it because they love it and they're passionate about it and they want to see everybody be encouraged by art and have that ability to access it and learn from it. So with that said, that's really been a crux of Born and Bred and what we've experienced and what we've tried to put out into the West Virginia universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the inception of Born and Bred, you had this phrase you kept saying, which you didn't invent,
Nope.
but the rising tides floats all ships. And I feel like since we started Born and Bred, I've heard so many people, including somebody this weekend, say that. And it really is true. Like, that is our mission. And I think that's what, people are starting to realize. Like, yeah, this isn't just a saying. This actually is
it's
real.
how it works. When I started, and some of you know the history, but when I started Born and Bred, I launched it as a music festival in Grafton in 2018. It wasn't to highlight me. It was, I wanted to bring all of my amazing, talented friends together and put on a show. There was no, this band beating that band. It was just, I want all these people to be on the same stage together because I love them and I'm passionate about what they're doing. And so now that's where it's transitioned with the magazine is we're doing that statewide. Yeah. We're passionate about what you're doing. And so with that said, we actually have met somebody in the last year through Born and Bred. He actually came to our Born and Bred music expo that we did
back in March.
Yeah, at the Robinson Grand. And this gentleman named Bray Merritt, he has a very extensive background in the music industry. And I mean, on a professional, national, worldwide scale, this is somebody who really knows his stuff. Grammy nominated projects. I don't know if any of those have won Grammys. I think maybe they have. I'd have to look more into that. But he is now more involved in the film industry. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about that. So please welcome into the Born and Bred podcast, our friend Bray Merritt. Bray, I want you to go ahead and just tell our audience a little bit about your background. We've already talked a little bit about who you are, but I want them to hear it from you.
Oh, hey, Brendan. Hey, Maria. Thanks for having me on. You guys are doing great things, and it's an honor to be on the show first and foremost. Thanks for the intro. Like you said, my name is Bray Merritt, and I've been a musician all my life, for better or for worse. I started working in the music industry as an audio engineer about 25 years ago, and that developed into producing and songwriting as well. This year also marks my 20th year working in the film and television post-production field. So I have a background in the music industry, and I also assist film and television distributors with managing their content. So over the years, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to have worked on some award-winning projects with extremely talented people. That includes artists, producers, record labels, both indie and major, talent managers, recording and production studios from coast to coast, directors, filmmakers, and global content distributors. Some of the work that I've been a part of has achieved gold, platinum, and diamond status with the RIAA. And some of the stuff I worked on has been nominated for Grammys, amongst other things. So that's a little bit of a background about what I've got going on here. I own a company called Signal Flows, And generally speaking, it's a media services company. So in short, I've got a small network of film, television, and music industry professionals that develop and service various projects. So like I like to say that we work in the intricate world of merging technology, creative, and commerce.
Okay. So that is a very extensive resume, and you've had a really cool life experiences in your musical and slash movie endeavors. But I want to talk about the fact that you now live in Morgantown, West Virginia. You're a transplant from, well, actually, you're an East Coaster originally, but then spent some time in LA. And now you're back here on the East Coast, living in Morgantown. And that transition happened how long ago?
2 years ago, I'd say, yeah, in the ballpark of 2 years ago, I've been here in Morgantown area.
Yeah. So now after you got back here and you got yourself settled and you had that sweet setup up there in Morgantown and you're working remotely, kind of sort of. I guess that's how you're doing it. You've had an opportunity to get out and go and see what's happening in the West Virginia music scene. So I wanted to ask you from your experience, because you have a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge on music and production and things like that. Just give me your general take, just an overview of what you're seeing in the West Virginia music scene.
My general take of the scene here is that this place is flooded with talent. There's nonstop talent just oozing out of the ground here, coming out of every which way that I see. Your organization and a couple of other organizations have been instrumental in helping me view what's going on here in West Virginia. I've really only spent a lot of time in the North Central West Virginia section as well, and I can see already in my short time here that there's so much more going on. I'm just scratching the surface. So, like I said, the talent is amazing. The players are phenomenal, and the spirit here is something that I haven't really seen in the rest of the places that I've been. There's a resilience to the people and the players. There's a wherewithal and a kind of a stick-to-itiveness, determination that I see on the faces of the players on these stages, and then I see what their fingers are doing and what they're putting out on the stage as creative content, and it's amazing and inspiring to see.
You said something to me. We were both at the Shindig Music Festival, and one of the things you said to me at that festival was that there was an organic feel to it, that that a lot of other places you've seen it, it feels like it's being corporate or things like that. And you said that you really didn't feel that about what was happening here.
Yeah, for sure. So it seems like people are going to be doing what they're going to be doing regardless of a scene here. And that's what I appreciate. There's seems to be less red velvet ropes to cross over, and not as many gatekeepers, and kind of less of the BS of a scene and more of just, I'm going to do this regardless. Open mic night or an open field or a big stage at a festival. It doesn't seem to matter to people that I see playing. They're just going to be doing it. So I like the fact that it is organic, like we talked about, and it'll do it regardless of whatever industry people say about it. And that's the key right there, is that it's honest. It seems to be very honest and very true to itself in its own way.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the reasons that I wanted Born and Bred to take off the way that it has. Was I wanted to have a source for information, but that wasn't gatekeeping. That it was actually talking about everything that's happening. And I think one of the coolest things I've gotten to experience in the last few months is just the amazing West Virginia hip hop scene that exists here, and it's good. I mean, it's really good. So with that said, I wanted to ask you, what are some artists that you've seen live that have really jumped out at you?
Well, I've seen live, and I've also been doing some research. I haven't been able to see everybody live, but
Right.
I've been seeing a handful of people. Honestly, we'll drop some names, I guess, of some of the artists. I don't know these
Yeah.
people personally, but I love what I'm seeing. So we've got Monster Lung. Was that Eric Jordan? That guy's
Yeah.
fantastic. You can put him anywhere, right? It doesn't matter what the region is or any qualifiers for it. That guy's flat out fantastic. And that album he just released was amazing. And that kind of opened up, another universe for me to see as well. There's this rising tides raises all boats type of vibe that I get from, that camp and some other camps that I've seen. So we've got somebody's doing a really good job promoting themselves. Spike Yee is another one. And I think
It's so
oh
good.
yeah, and his producer proper. We got Wolf Jones. Let's see, I've written down a few things here. Was that 66240? That's another one. Let's see, Black Atticus. That's another one that I've seen that's so good. Lamar Riddick. And then Shalem. These people that I've been listening to since I've got here, and I'm jonesing to see them live. I know Monster Lungs played a few shows. I've been unfortunately I had to miss them, but yeah, there's a whole different camp of people doing different things with organic music, with hip hop, with electronic, with pop. And the cool thing too is that it has its regional sound at the same time. So I hear Spike Lee and he's rapping about his story about coming from Appalachia, and that's a unique story for here and for him. You know, that's fantastic. And everybody, like I said, I don't want to keep on harping on Monster Lung, but man, that's some powerful stuff right there. I mean, I when that album released, I sat down and listened to that thing twice in a row, just 2 sittings, boom, over and over. It was extraordinary. Every track's fantastic. No filler in that whatsoever. But those are just examples of some of the things that I've seen around here. I have a list of a bunch of different people that I've taken note of around here, and there's just no shortage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with everything you're saying. Like you just mentioned some of my favorite. I've gotten to watch Lamar Riddick come up. He played shows with us back 10 years ago, and seeing his progression and how good he's gotten. He's had some really cool experiences. Shalem is just putting out solid material.
So good, yeah.
He's got such an accessible vibe to him, like the sound and everything about it. I think it's got big appeal that he could blow up beyond West Virginia borders.
Yeah, and one of many that could. That's the thing. You're right.
Yeah, and same for Spike, and Monster Lung. I mean, these guys are all getting some really good attention, and they deserve it.
Well, I think also, not to interrupt with that, but I think they're all doing a great job at pushing themselves out there for outsiders to be able to see. Right. That's what I was able to hone in as being an outsider coming in. I'm going to social medias. I'm going to see whatever promos are out there. I'm listening to podcasts on YouTube, anybody doing anything. I did a lot of research on this place before I moved here. I didn't just stumble into this place.
Right. That you bring up a really good point. Something that I think every musician in the West Virginia music scene should be paying attention to is how the hip hop guys promote themselves, because they do a fantastic job on their socials and making sure you know what's out there and what they're doing and what's coming soon and all that. There's a lot of bands that, I hate to say this, but I find out their music's releasing the day it releases. No, like no promotion, no build up to it, or maybe one promo that they're hoping people see. The hip hop guys really do set a standard for how to be a musician, how to be an artist, and how to get heard. So yeah, kudos to all of them. So tell me a little bit about, I know I got to watch you watch some bands, and I know a band that jumped out to you a little bit at a show we were at was the Heavy Hitters.
Oh yeah.
I know you really vibed on them, and the Moon, My Twin. I think you got to see them. So is there any rock bands or any thing in that world that's jumping out at you?
Well, let's see. There was the one group, the Amelia Deal and the Hot Mess, that was at the Shindy. Oh man, that blew my socks off. That was good. I mean, we've got the obvious people that are from here, right? The Brad Paisley and Charles Wesley Godwin and Sierra Farrell. But I'm coming to find like Philip Bowen, who I think you have recently had on as well. And you got to introduce me to that guy. Wow, fantastic person, awesome musician. That guy is just a gem. He's amazing. There's artists like Grace Campbell, right? She's pegged to be the next best thing coming out of here as well. I think, just anytime I've seen her play, I've seen the crowds just have tears in their eyes with the performance. It's so good. You've got other players here in the background as well that are doing great things, like my new friend, Zach McCord. Excellent songwriter, probably has the best studio that I've walked in this state. You've got artists like Jamie Lester. Got to see him at one of the showcases here. That was excellent. And he's a great sculptor. Like, that's out of hand, right?
He's an artist all the way around.
Another one that seems to be a key player around here is Andy Benson. He's another great guy here. He's just awesome with the information that's going out there. It was another showcase that he was able to do. Scott Conrad, great drummer. I think there's a West Virginia wild man named Alistair Stolas floating around. That guy, fantastic voice. But there's a whole bunch of different people doing a bunch of different things. I think one of your cohorts, Brandon Wood, guitar player,
Yep.
producer extraordinary, doing great stuff. So, I mean, the list goes on and on. And again, I've only been here a short amount of time, and I've only really been in this region in North Central West Virginia, and I'm really looking forward to spreading my wings and seeing what else is out there.
Yeah, there's going to be a great opportunity. If I can do a plug in the middle of our talk, November at the Born and Bred Concert Series to actually see some of that Southern flair. Alabaster Boxer will be back at the Born and Bred Concert Series, and so will Kindred Valley. And I'm telling you, they have a sound to them that is blowing up, and people are paying attention to them, and they're getting a lot of national notoriety as well. So yeah, it's amazing to me. I'm getting to watch all of this. I get a front row seat to this amazing thing. So it's fantastic to hear you, this guy who has this history in the music scene, say all of these positive things. But what I want to ask you is, where do you see some areas that could be some improvement, and what are some things that need to happen?
Well, improvement. I don't know. It's kind of hard to look at it with a critical eye when I'm still just kind of discovering things, right? So,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to say at this point what needs improvement. I think everybody needs to understand what they're doing, what they sound like, and what they sound like in relationship to what the rest of the world that they're trying to influence is, right? So, trying to be an artist that is maybe the flavor of the month may not be the best thing to try to be, but being true to yourself and trying to find your own unique path, that's best time served. So just, I don't know, man. I think honestly, just keeping on with what everybody's doing and showing the rest of the world what is the amazingness of West Virginia.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to give you one last question, and you may not have an answer to this, but let's just see. Who's one West Virginia band that you've gotten a chance to hear? Maybe you've heard them musically, digitally, however, YouTube, whatever, but that you're looking forward to seeing live sometime.
I mean, again, I have to say Monster Long. That's got to be the one for me, for sure. I want to go see live. I'm loving what I've listened to online and on streaming, and I'd love to see that live, especially if there's a band involved, which I think there is sometimes.
Yeah, I believe so. And I know Shalem also uses a band. So I think I see a show. I want to do a hip hop showcase at some point in time. Like
Yeah.
10 artists. I think it would be amazing. All right. Well, cool. Well, I want to thank Bray for stopping in, and thank you for your time, sir, and appreciate your just your passion. And I appreciate your love of what's happening here in West Virginia.
Hey, no problem. And thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
So thanks again to Bray for stopping, and he's got a very busy schedule, and we appreciate him taking time to talk to us about what he's seeing in the West Virginia music industry. And I hope that's encouraging to hear somebody from that outsider perspective say, wow,
Yeah.
what you have going on here is great.
Yeah.
And, take that ball and run with it out there. If you're listening to this, you're a musician who thinks, I saw somebody recently say, you can't make it, and this was just a couple weeks ago, you can't make it or make any money in the West Virginia music scene. And I strongly disagree with that. You just have to know how to work it. You have to know how to promote it, and you have to know where you should invest your time. And we can talk more about that later.
If I could get on a soapbox real quick, I would say you have to be willing to put the effort in as well, and like put the effort in the places that you don't want to put the effort in. So like for some people that's social media, for some people it's whatever, like just doing the networking thing like we did this weekend. Like some people don't like doing the networking thing. Some people don't like posting on social media, and so they just say, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. So then you can only blame yourself if people don't know who you are and people don't know your music, right? Like you have to accept the fact that like if you want to be successful as an artist, you have to be uncomfortable sometimes, just like any other job. Like if you're working another job, like there are moments where it's uncomfortable, you don't want to do it, but you know you have to do it because you have your boss telling you that you have to do it. And in the case of music, if we're just sort of complaining that we're not being seen, but not putting all of our effort in all of the ways we have to be seen with the networking, social media, supporting other artists, all the things, like if we're not willing to do the uncomfortable things, then we really can't complain if we're unsuccessful in our eyes. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just sit around and write poetry and hope that somebody hears it when you're keeping it hidden in a box.
Now, if I might step on your soapbox, to add to that, I am very leery of booking bands for things that we do if I don't see a strong social media presence.
Yeah.
Because I need you promoting this stuff as much as I'm promoting
Right.
it. It's all of us working together. And trust me, I'm going to promote it. We are going to promote the heck out of the things we're doing. We need you to as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that does matter. And when I hear bands say, I hate social media.
Yeah, like,
I don't
I'm
wanna
just
do
not going to do it.
I
then
just
it's like,
automatically,
well, then I don't feel that bad for you.
yeah, I kind of check out because
Yeah.
if you're not invested in your career, why should I be?
Yeah. And that's not to even, like, I get the struggle. I'm not actually saying that you shouldn't feel that struggle.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if this is what you want, you have to be willing to just do it.
To be successful, you have to be willing
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's just that fact.
Yeah.
So,
The most uncomfortable thing you can do in life is to constantly avoid being uncomfortable.
that's good.
Deep.
We're going to leave you with that note. So thanks for stopping by and checking out the Born and Bred podcast. We will see you on our next episode with our very special guest, Eric Jordan, also known as Monster Lung.